or you play a gamble where you have 50% of chance to win nothing, or 50% of chance to win $100. Who chooses this one in the room? Who prefers to get $50 right now? Raise your hand. Okay. Who wants to play? Okay, so not a lot of people. Much more people, actually, they want the safe option. No. Actually, that's how a lot of people behave. They are risk averse, and they prefer to choose the safe option. Now, I change. Let's imagine another game. You have to give me now $50, or I give you a chance. You can play this gamble, and it's 50% of chance you have nothing to pay. Otherwise, you have to pay me $100. Which one wants to give me now $50? No one. So, which means that everyone wants to play. And this is actually how people behave. In this case, they want to play. So you see what happens. There is an issue, because it's not rational to behave like that. If you only use mathematics, you should behave exactly the same in this case or in this case, because it's exactly the same situation. Why? Because actually we are not rational. We have a lot of cognitive biases, and on average, we are twice more sensitive to losses than to gains. This is one major cognitive bias of behavioral finance. Another example. Let's imagine you have a first pill. 1% of chance this pill will save you. Otherwise, you have a pill B that will never save you. A lot of people, they want to invest a lot to have this pill A, even if it's a tiny, tiny chance to be saved. Another case is that you have a pill A with 87% of chance to save you, and another one with only 88% of chance to save you. In this second case, people are indifferent. They don't want to pay more to have pill A or pill B. And in the last case, if you have a pill A, which will save you in 99% of chance, or a pill B, which will always save you, then people, they are ready to pay a lot to get pill B. And again, it's not rational, because in the three cases here, you have only 1% of difference. It's exactly the same. But people, they don't behave the same. So why I'm talking about that? Just to show you that we are not rational. Our decisions are not rational, and they are a lot influenced by cognitive biases. And actually, financial regulators, they are aware of that. And in many countries, including here in Latin America, but also in Europe, in the US, in Asia, they ask, it's compulsory, they ask financial advisors to assess the investor psychology to give them the best advice. It's compulsory everywhere. But most of the time, financial institutions, they address these requirements by paper questionnaires, like that. And this raises three main challenges. The first one is compliance. Based on the FCA report in the UK, half of these paper questionnaires do not comply with local regulation. So banks get fined, and clients complain. The second issue is that the scientific validity of these paper questionnaires is very low. So all the biases I show in the introduction, they are not assessed through the very, very simple paper questionnaires. So based on different reports in Europe, less than 10% of these questionnaires are based on a scientific methodology. So when you fill out this kind of paper questionnaires, financial advisors, they don't learn a lot about real risk preferences and your real investor psychology. While today, the first challenge for financial advisors is to improve client knowledge and client segmentation. And finally, we all agree that it's super boring, both for financial advisors and clients, to fill out this kind of paper questionnaires. Today, clients, they want more digitalization, more customization. And clearly, this kind of paper questionnaires don't address this new requirement. So I realized that there was something to do because I worked in private banking, and at the same time, I was also starting a PhD in behavioral finance. So I decided to dedicate one part of my PhD to build a business-friendly application for financial advisors to assess the investor profile of their clients. And later, Julien joined me with a strong background in machine learning and big data analysis. And this is how Neuroprofiler was born. Neuroprofiler is a behavioral finance game to help financial advisors assess their clients' investor profile in line with new financial regulations. So this is briefly the rest of the team. So now we are based in Europe. Rose is in the UK, Thibaut is in Switzerland, Valentine in Paris. We have Antoine, our web developer, in Switzerland, and we have also 2 scientific advisors from Harvard University, Xavier in economics, and Camille in cognitive science. So how does it work? Let's imagine I am a client. My financial advisor sends me a link, so I can play the game online on my PC or smartphone. First, I get a couple of questions about my financial education, my financial knowledge, and so on. All these questions are compulsory, so you have to ask them. We build this questionnaire with the help of KPMG. Then your financial knowledge is assessed, but it's an adaptive test, which means that if I know nothing about finance, I only get 3 questions. If I am very sophisticated, I can get up to 10 questions. And then, at the end of the game, I have to play an investment game where I have to choose several times in different gambles. At the end of the game, the algorithm assesses your investor profile, which means not only the algorithm will say you are conservative or dynamic, but also why. Why here I am conservative? Because I am loss averse, because I am pessimistic, because I am very reasonable, because I'm impulsive. And at the end, you have also a lot of information about my investor personality and how to better manage my wealth in my daily life. And then, based on this profile, the algorithm can tell you what is the best portfolio or the best credit for you. So this is a very, very oversimplified example, but most of the time we work with the bank. So here we can say, well, in this bank, this is exactly the product you need based on your investor psychology. Or this is exactly the credit you need based on your investor psychology. In case the client hasn't taken the test seriously, the financial advisor gets inconsistency warnings. So he may ask the client to take the test again. Finally, all data are sent to the financial advisor and archived on his data platform. So the key added value of the algorithm is that it's a machine learning algorithm. So each time someone takes a test, it improves the algorithm. And as it's adaptive, so each question depends on the answer to the previous question, the algorithm can assess more than 1 million different investor profiles. So it's extremely accurate. The solution is also highly flexible. We offer a white label option, which means that you can just go directly on our website, on our SaaS platform, you put your logo, your colors, you choose your design, and you can directly send the test to your customers. Or we have also an API, and then we can directly integrate the IT system of the bank. And the business model is very simple. It's a per test payment. So today we are developing mainly in Europe with a couple of Swiss banks in Switzerland, in Luxembourg with KPMG and Société Générale, in Belgium and in the Netherlands with ING, and in Paris with the group BPCE, BNP, and Orange Bank. And we are also part of a fintech program in London, and hopefully we will have a couple of clients in the coming months in the UK. And hopefully soon also in Latin America and in Peru. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a very short introduction to Neuroprofiler, and I think it will be very interesting to have your feedback, comments, and questions.
How your clients, banks mainly, use that information? They take the decision just based on that information, or they integrate it with other information?
So most of the time, they have this profile because it's compulsory. They have to assess that. So there are two options. The first one, for some banks, they just want these results because it's compulsory, so they use that, and that's it. They stop here. For other banks, they want to link our behavioral data with their financial products. So in this case, the bank gives us all the financial products they have, and then we can use our algorithm to say, well, in all your financial products, this is exactly the one which is suitable for this investor profile. So then it's like a small robot advisor that we can build for the bank, and it's completely automated. And it's the same thing for credit companies. They can give us all the credits they can offer, and then we can do the same matching.
How long takes to play the game or to fill the questionnaire?
So it's adaptive, so it depends a little bit. For instance, the financial knowledge part, if you don't know a lot about finance, you have only 2 questions. Otherwise, you have 7 questions or 10 questions. On average, it's 10 minutes, but maybe also 8 or 6 or 12 for some clients. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is that we are, so KPMG, they help us for regulation in Europe, but the regulation in Europe is extremely strict. This is
in Peru.
In Peru, yeah, I know, but that's why. Since it's compliant with Europe, because it's very strict, so we will be compliant here.
I understand that this model is exclusive to detect if the person is how much is willing to risk when gambling or when investing. Yeah. But I don't know if in the next plans that you have, you may include something like to detect the propensity to lie or the propensity for fraud. I don't know. I think that there are many possibilities to explore and to develop beyond.
Exactly. So there are many. Actually, we developed. This is only one game I show here for something very, very precise, which is investor profiling for wealth management. So it's, but using the same algorithm, we can assess other biases, like you say, like the propensity to lie, or time preferences, the impact of emotions. Social biases and so on. So we have also these games, but they are used more for coaching or talent management within banks than really for their customers.
Any other questions? I wanted to ask a question actually. Can anyone play? Can I find your website and try to take the test?
Yeah, definitely. If you, they are not public, but if you send me an email here, I will definitely send you some links so you can play the game and discover your personality.
Thank you. Sí, ¿preguntas? Sí.
My English is very poor. Have I lived in South America?
Not yet. We are, our customers, they are in Europe, soon in Canada, but we don't have clients yet in Latin America.
Yes. Okay. I have a contact to you. I have to you. No, I have a proposal for you.
Español también.
I have a proposal for you. Yes.
One last question, if I may. which data do you need in order to prepare this questionnaire, or you don't need
No, that's a big asset of the game, because we don't use, like, I know that for credit scoring sometimes you need social data or data from mobile phones. I don't know. Here, no, because the test is completely anonymous. We have absolutely no information, not even the name of the about clients. So we only based our analysis on the behavior of clients during the game.
Okay. So this starts with 0 data, and it is growing, like you said. In one person resolve the questionnaire, it gets smarter.
Gets better. Yeah, it gets better. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering if this neuroprofiler could be applied to giving loans.
Yeah. That's why here I just wanted to. We are working with macro credit companies also, and with consumer credit companies, and they use the same. Here you can actually, with the game, you can advise some portfolio, but also some credit, because we can assess like impulsivity, your investment horizons, and so on. So we work with these credit companies to assess credit worthiness first, but also to help entrepreneurs, because we have these coaching tools here. Here you have a lot of information. Based on your profile, you have a lot of information about how to better manage your credits in your daily life. So with the microcredit institutions, for instance, micro entrepreneurs, they take our tests, and if we see that they are impulsive and that they may not pay back their credit, we help them more. So they have specific training, because we know that they are more risky profiles.
Where do you take this test? How can I make sure that the person who's taking the test is really?
So I mean, for the thing is that the test we use is very standard in behavioral finance. So it has been used for decades and decades. So many papers, they have shown that this theory is a very good predictor of how people behave in their daily life. The issue is that the standard test is very long. It's like 2-3 hours. So it's not suitable at all for business. And thanks to machine learning, we were able to make this test shorter with the same accuracy. So.
Bueno, si no hay más preguntas, ¿sí? ¿Pregunta? Okay.
Hello. Can you give a simple example about which characteristics of one person determine or implies which if you will have a loan or a specific bank, which question do you have in your questionnaire?
Questions. So it's going to be questions like that. So here, for instance, you can. So the picture is not very well, but you can. Here you have 2 gambles. So you have you can play two gambles, 2 bubblegum machines. In the first one, you have here 70% of chance to win. So I have to show to win $400, or 70% of chance to win $300. So this is the first one. The second one, you have 70% of chance to lose $100, otherwise to lose $100, otherwise to win $1,000. So you have this kind of questions, and here you have no good or bad answers, because you may say, well, here I can win a lot, I can win $100, but on the other hand, you know, I don't want to lose at all. So I will take this one because here I'm sure that I will never lose. But you may also say, well, I mean, this one is much better because I have a high probability to win a lot of money, so I want to take the second choice. So again, it's only based on your individual preferences, and there are no good and bad answers. So it may be this kind of questions, or also like, do you prefer to invest to have $50 now, or $60 in 2 months? What do you want? and then the algorithm adapts, and all the questions adapt to your answers. So I don't know if it's...
When you work with your clients,
Yeah.
the banks, so the results of the game,
Yeah.
okay, shows the, for example, theory,
Yeah.
a theory of your portfolio to stocks, or
Yeah.
How you develop more sophisticated alternative, or you only stay in the basis?
So
Like, for example, bonds for government bonds, or something like that.
So actually, the algorithm assesses that. So this is your profile. So here we know this is a conservative profile. It's pessimistic, very loss averse, and very reasonable. So this is a profile we have. Now the banks come and give us all the financial products they have. So it depends. And then they say, well, we have an algorithm to match this data with the financial products of the bank. And it will depend on the bank. Yeah, for the bank, exactly. Yeah, and sometimes banks actually they internally they have that, they have mapping, they have I don't know 4 levels of or 5 levels of risks, and internally they already have the mapping between their financial products and these 5 levels of risk. So for these banks, for instance, we just give them that, and they have already internally the mapping between this profile and their financial products. If they don't, we can do it for them.
Hello, how many questions have your instruments?
So again, it's on average 10 minutes.
How many questions?
Questions. So here, only for the game, at the end, for the investment games, 10 questions.
Okay.
And then if you add questions before on your financial situation and financial knowledge, it's between 15 to 20 questions. So on average 10 minutes to complete the test.
¿Alguien más tiene alguna pregunta? Sí.
I was wondering if there any difference in between your model and those psychometric models that are actually in place.
It's not at all the same, philosophy or theory behind. The thing is that we don't use psychometrics at all. Here we use behavioral finance. I don't want to be too technical, but the main idea is that here at the end, you have a utility function of the client. So it's a mathematical models with a lot of parameters. So the final result is very, very easy to integrate to financial products because we have this mathematical model behind. While with the psychometrics, it's a bit more subjective. So at the end, you have risk aversion between 1 to 10, but it's not very, very accurate, and it's not the mathematical models behind. So when you have to link behavioral data with financial data, this is a big issue. So that's the main difference.
The same questions would apply the customer in Peru?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the same questions can be asked, especially, here the game is completely universal. You know,
yes.
we have 6 different designs. So you can choose, you can have wheels of fortune, bags of balls. You choose a design, and this is quite universal. Financial knowledge, again, it's based on the World Bank reports. So they did it in many, many countries in Africa, in Latin America, so they are quite universal. And the first question is about age, education, and so on. So again, we can change them if we want, but normally they are very universal. And the thing is that the platform is very, very flexible. So for banks, they can add questions, they can change questions. We can add questions about nationality, about if there are some compliance requirements, specific compliance requirements here, we can add these questions.
Time's sadly up, but thank you very much for your presentation. Gracias a todos por venir. Ahora vamos a pasar a la siguiente presentación.
Muchas gracias.